I was driving home with my 9-year-old daughter when my left arm went completely numb. Then came the chest pain. It felt like someone kept hitting me with a hammer over and over again. My vision got blurry, and I went dizzy. I tried calling for my daughter.
Daddy, no!
But the pressure in my throat stopped me from doing it. I only managed a small cry when I went face first into the windscreen. The last thing I remember was the shattered glass piercing my face. And then I woke up to a blinding hospital lights and a doctor's stern face looking over me. Sir, that heart failure almost killed you. Your weight is wrecking your heart. I will never forgive myself for letting my weight get to the point where it would kill someone I love. But in a way, I'm thankful for that horrific moment. Because the panic I felt when I lost control of my car, thinking I was about to die, wasn't something I wanted to feel again. I didn't want to die like that. Not then, not there. And I especially didn't want to hurt my daughter. I wanted to watch her grow up, go to a good college, get married, and have children of her own. My mission was clear. In order to live for her, I first had to lose 42 pounds of fat that were crushing my heart and all my organs. And that gave me the power to start my 2-year-old journey, which led me to discover the true root cause of unwanted belly fat, which, as it turns out, it's also the very same thing that causes cardiac arrest, type 2 diabetes, and a low libido. It has nothing to do with how much you exercise, what diet you follow, or your genes. So you can forget all about wasting hours at the gym or following unhealthy diets because they won't help you lose weight. I know. It may sound unbelievable, but I personally went from 132 pounds overweight, pre-diabetic, and having had 2 heart failures in 1 year, to losing 42 pounds of fat, dropping my cholesterol by 300 points, eliminating my blood sugar problems and heart failure risks, and according to my doctor, extended my life by a minimum of 10 years. And if I could do it, I guarantee that anyone can do it too. Trust me, this journey of complete self-transformation is unlike anything you've ever seen before. A true miracle, as my wife, friends, and thousands of people who heard it would say, which started in the most unusual way. Because, as you will soon discover, the first step I took to lose over 42 pounds was simply checking my urine color. Yes, you heard that right. And it may sound shocking, but this breakthrough discovery is setting the weight loss industry on fire. Stay with me, because in the next 5 minutes, I will show you how some unexpected help and months of research led me to discover a dirt cheap and 100% effective method to lose weight fast and keep it off for the next 35 years. Scientists and nutritionists couldn't believe that more than 97% of the people with weight issues have this one thing in common: the color of their urine. Did you know your urine color determines how easily you gain weight? It all has to do with the amount of water you drink, and why if you exceed this amount of water intake a day, I'll tell you about it in just a minute, you could destroy your metabolism. This discovery has some doctors across the nation advising overweight folks not to drink the recommended 8 glasses of water a day. And it's not only drinking water that's a big cause for weight gain. This controversial discovery also uncovers other deadly healthy habits, such as eating certain fruits and vegetables, or even exercising more than a certain amount or intensity. They may be the real culprit behind your stubborn fat, as they can wreck your metabolism. There's only one way to find out if it's the case, and it's all found in this short presentation. And if you're skeptical about how much weight you can lose just by removing these habits, think again. Because by the end of this video, I'll tell you exactly what I did, and I will also give you a 30 seconds tried and tested method you can do immediately. It was used successfully by more than 79,411 folks. It will help you shed excess pounds starting today, without prescription medications, restrictive diets, overpriced but ineffective weight loss products, or calorie counting. This dirt cheap protocol will work for people of any age, any body type, and in any state of physical health, because this scientific method is based on sound biology. It's exactly what happened for Jim in Twin Falls from Idaho. He lost more than 70 pounds. He was shocked when the pounds started coming off as if by magic. He says, "The secret you shared with me saved my life, and I'm not being dramatic. Before I watched your video, my doctor said I was 75 pounds overweight and had just been diagnosed with severe type 2 diabetes. I didn't think there was hope, and I thought I was going to die. Even though I was somewhat skeptical at first, You explained the science behind this in such a convincing and easy to understand fashion that I figured I'd give it a try. That was the best decision I've ever made. It's only been a short period of time, but I've already lost 70 pounds, and incredibly enough, I'm medically no longer even considered a diabetic. I can't believe how powerful this stuff is. Thank you for sharing. Or Alan from Abilene, Texas, who lost 21 pounds and wrote us to say, I admit I only tried this method as a last resort, not expecting it to show any results. I was 80 pounds overweight, and honestly, I thought I was dying anyway, so I was really willing to try anything at that point. I was amazed at how fast the results started showing up. I slept better, I lost 21 pounds in what felt like weeks, and the best thing is that I'm now beating my son at basketball whenever I get the chance. I can't believe that it actually worked. Or Maurice from Port Washington, New York, who used this simple method you're about to discover to lose 27 pounds and says, you can quote me on this when I say this method is nothing short of a miracle. My prayers have been answered and I managed to lose no less than 27 pounds practically overnight. This stuff is really powerful and more people need to know about it. And Janet from Gulfport, Mississippi. She lost 35 pounds. Not only has she lost her unwanted body fat, she also looks way younger now. She says, I can't believe I started wearing size 2 dresses again. It was only 4 months ago when I was so ashamed of trying on women's clothes that I was shopping at the men's section instead. And yeah, I admit, I didn't believe a word of what this guy said to me, thinking he was just another snake oil seller. But I'm so glad I decided to give his mix a chance because now I look and feel better than I did in my 20s. Those are just a few of the tens of thousands of real-life success stories I've received, and I'll share a few more with you in a minute. The method I'm about to share is so strange, so effective, and so controversial, you'll never see this on mainstream TV. You'll also find out all about the vicious lies the $21 billion health industry is feeding you, that not only hinders your weight loss efforts, but also wrecks your health. Lies such as why drinking just 8 glasses of water per day is one of the fastest ways to accelerate the aging process. The counterintuitive reason why low-calorie dieting practically guarantees that you will keep gaining weight and adding fat to your belly, even if you work out 5, 6, or 7 times per week. Why you should not exercise for more than 30 minutes a week. Latest research shows exercising more than that actually ruins your metabolism and literally forces fat to stick on you. This simple fat-destroying method I'll reveal at the end of this video is scientifically proven to possibly melt away every spare ounce of fat on your body rapidly, dramatically skyrocketing your vitality, energy, and sex drive. Significantly lower your risk of major illnesses like deadly diseases, heart diseases, and type 2 diabetes, and undoing the effects of aging on your body. Just like the 79,411 others who use the method you're about to see in this video, and I'll show you proof in just a minute, you'll look, feel, and be fundamentally healthier than you've ever been. And you'll find that all of the symptoms and causes of your most major health conditions, things like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, chronic pain, have completely faded away from your body in a manner that's so miraculous, it will make even the most adamant atheist scratching his head, looking up the sky and screaming with raised fists that there is a God. Now, the secret I'm about to share with you is so simple, so easy to implement in your own life, and so powerful that it probably sounds almost unbelievable when you first hear about it. And you're likely wondering how something like this could possibly exist without you ever knowing about it, right? Well, to be honest, I felt the exact same way when this young scientist first told me about his revolutionary scientific breakthrough. I thought he was just some hotshot PhD who was full of you-know-what, and that there was no way this could be real. But after observing the life-changing effects in my own body and watching more than 79,411 others just like you and me try it for themselves and experience unbelievable, unheard of, and life-saving results, I'm fundamentally convinced that what I'm about to share with you will not only give you the tone, lean physique that you've either always wanted but never had, or once had and lost decades ago, but that it can totally revolutionize your health, potentially undoing many medical ailments, conditions, and diseases. But before I do, it's important I tell you who I am, how this works, and why it will not only transform your body, but also save your life. My name is James Carr, and I'm 57 years old. This is a picture of me today. And here's a picture of what I looked like 3 years ago. It's a pretty incredible transformation, right? And I'll tell you a secret. Not only do I look and feel physically better than I did when I was in my mid-40s, but I actually am physically healthier on all accounts. Now, that's not just me being boastful. I recently had a full panel of tests done at the Mayo Clinic, including DNA testing and cellular analysis. And they told me that from a biological, physiological, and cellular perspective, my body was the same as a 31-year-old's. That's a pretty remarkable thing to be told by some of the most respected doctors in the world. But it's even more remarkable when you consider that just 3 years ago, I almost lost my life because of my weight. The emergency room physician told my wife that most likely I only had around a few months left, and that she should start preparing now for what life would be like for our children and even our grandchildren after I died. It was one hell of a rude awakening, especially because prior to the incident, I hadn't even realized I was in that bad a shape. Sure, I knew I needed to lose a few pounds, that my pot belly was getting a little bigger month after month and year after year. Sure, I noticed that my sex drive was failing, and that I never had any energy, and that even though I wanted to work out, I felt too lazy and lethargic to even go to the gym in the first place. And sure, I've had 2 heart failures, but I blame them on my bad genes. My father and my grandpa both lost their lives after such incidents. But I didn't realize things were that bad. It all happened so quickly. The date was September 19th, 2017. I was picking up my daughter from school. She'd gotten an A+ in math that day, and she was especially happy. I could still remember she was singing happily in the back seat of my Honda Civic. She knew all the lyrics to Baby Shark, and she was even doing the happy little dance to go with it. The way her little arms moved up and down following the rhythm of the song. The way she giggled when she messed up a word, only to correct herself after. And I can still remember the look of sheer terror in her eyes when she saw the car rapidly heading to the nearest tree. The worst thing is that I couldn't do anything. I was paralyzed by my very own heart, and as the car hit the tree with a loud bang, the airbags inflated to my side and in front of me, and then quickly deflated. I could feel the searing pain in my chest getting worse and worse, and when I looked back at my daughter, my heart stopped. After that, the next thing I fully remember is waking up in a hospital bed to the sight of my wife and a couple of nurses surrounding me. Their sorrowful smiles and my wife's red, raw eyes, tubes coming out of me, and a scar across my chest from where coronary artery bypass grafting had occurred, so that the doctor could literally jump over my clogged coronary arteries and get blood to my desperately deprived heart. My wife told me our little Emily was okay, and she had only suffered a minor concussion and that she was going to be discharged in a couple of hours. She then hugged me and smiled and pretended everything was going to be okay, all while her eyes betrayed the horrible, gut-wrenching realization that she believed I was about to die. 2 weeks later, as I was leaving the hospital, the chief physician came to see me. I was expecting him to provide some friendly words of encouragement, or perhaps even add another prescription to the more than 10 medications he'd already prescribed. But instead, what he told me terrified me, shocked me, and ultimately saved my life. Even with clot-busting drugs, the blood thinners, the prescription-strength ibuprofen, and everything else we gave you, there is a 97% chance you will not make it more than 6 months, he started. The damage to your heart is simply too great. Your body is simply too damaged, and I don't think any of this can be treated without some sort of miraculous change. The third heart failure may be your last. I was devastated and in a daze. I asked him if there was any hope at all, anything that could be done. Well, to start, you need to lose at least 50 pounds, he said. But you risk starving your body with a diet which would speed up your decline. So no, not really. Not unless you can find a way to become 10 years younger overnight. I'm sorry. And then that was it. I left the hospital with a death sentence, a ticking time bomb strapped to my chest. How did this happen? That's what I kept asking myself as I lay confined in my bed, too weak to stand for more than 10 minutes at a time. It's not like I'd begun eating more fast food or that I had become lazier, at least not intentionally, or was a smoker or really anything like that. Instead, around my 50th birthday, it seemed like things in my body just started to change. It started taking me longer to recover from my workouts at the gym and get out of bed in the morning. My wife and I were having sex less and less often. And it wasn't because of her. It was because I was too tired. And sometimes, this is embarrassing for me to admit, but I had trouble standing at full attention when the moment came. Even though I hadn't changed my eating habits and was still exercising 4 to 5 times per week, it seemed like my belly kept getting a little bigger with each passing month, as if my stomach fat was getting more and more stubborn and refusing to leave, while the chest muscles I built were turning from rocks to little bean bags, even though I was still lifting regularly. Here's another thing that's kind of embarrassing for me to admit, but I always had been sort of a health freak. Before the heart failure incident, I was trying all kinds of popular weight loss programs, meal plans, diet fads, like going low carb and gluten-free. The weight loss programs were all about restricting your diet, counting calories, and starving yourself. Not only did this seem unhealthy to me, but they didn't work at all. I was always hungry, and what I quickly discovered was that these diets put my body into survival mode, where it desperately clung to all of the calories I was taking in, and then converted them into fat because it was being deprived of energy, which meant I actually started to gain weight while my muscles broke down even more quickly because they weren't getting the protein and other nutrients they needed to grow. And not just that, all these different programs sucked the money out of my pockets like a vacuum. And don't get me started about those meal plans, things like Nutrisystem and Noom. Nutrisystem cost me $429.99 a month, which would have been fine, except the meals were tiny, frozen, and tasted like absolute crap. Plus, the actual ingredients in those things are garbage. They're laced with all kinds of preservatives, artificial ingredients, and weird chemicals I couldn't even pronounce. Noom was based on a stupid quiz system that was just as bad as any other diet program I'd already tried on and failed. Plus, try feeling not embarrassed after telling a bunch of your friends that you're paying for Noom. And finally, I tried all of these more science-based diets, things like gluten-free, low-carb, and the paleo diet. Well, only about 1% of Americans are actually allergic to gluten, and I was one of the 99% who's not, so that did nothing for me. Eating low-carb made me extremely weak and sick. Imagine trying to fill your body with enough energy by stuffing yourself full of meat and fats. Not only that, latest research shows that low-carb diets actually raise your cholesterol. For example, a study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition compared the blood cholesterol levels of individuals on a low-carb diet versus a high-carb diet over a period of 6 weeks. What they found out was that the increase in LDL, which is the bad cholesterol levels, in the low-carb group is 271% higher compared to the high cholesterol group. And this turned out to be a very, very bad thing. As you saw what happened to me. I could have died then and there. It seems ridiculous in hindsight, but if you add up all the special avoidance diets, no one could eat anything. Nothing seemed to be helping me really lose weight, regain more energy, or even feel better. And the end result of it was me nearly killing my daughter, clutching at my heart, and discovering that I was only an inch away from death's door. I felt like giving up. The doctor had told me that there was literally nothing I could do, short of losing 50 pounds, which was obviously impossible, or traveling back in time, which was also obviously impossible, unless I happened to make a new friend with a time machine in his garage. So I started getting on the phone, reaching out to my friends and relatives and saying goodbye. It was so surreal to have a conversation with some of your lifelong best friends, where you essentially tell them that you love them and soon you are going to leave them forever. Or to try explaining to your kid that daddy won't be able to see her for much longer, but that she should try to be the best person she can be, to live a moral life, to love God and her country, to be respectful of others, and to grow up to make me proud. As they cry and you cry, I felt like I wanted to die right then and there rather than go on watching their suffering. Actually, that's a good place for me to pause for a second because I wanted to make an important point. I'm not telling you any of this to be a sob story or for sympathy. I'm sharing my story with you because everything happened so fast, even though I didn't really think I was that unhealthy. I thought I was just starting to get old. That's the terrifying thing about aging. there's that ticking time bomb inside of you, and it starts counting down at a faster and faster rate. And whether it's a deadly disease, or heart failure, or a stroke, or type 2 diabetes, or whatever, suddenly, any day could be your last. Over the months that followed, I said my goodbyes. There was phone call after phone call, and friends and family from across the country flew out to see me, perhaps for the final time. More choked up conversations, more tears, a blacker and blacker mood hanging over my entire house. You get the picture. It was September 17th, 2019. My nephew Stephen had just arrived at our home. As we sat talking, I felt such conflicting emotions, a blend of pride for the man he'd become, and bitterness that I wouldn't be alive to see him continue to develop. He told me all about his young family, how he had just bought a house, and how he was already planning for retirement, even though he was just 30. And all about his work as a newly minted PhD in biologist at one of the top universities on the West Coast, and working in a medical research facility, the things he was studying, the discoveries he was making, how much he loved his work. As the conversation winded down to the end, he asked me the hard questions. Wasn't there anything that could be done? Wasn't there any hope? But I just told him what the doctor had already told me. Lose 50 pounds without exercising and without starving myself. Become 10 years younger. Things that were impossible because of my deteriorated physical state. And while I expected to just nod in understanding and to say he was sorry, what he said next caught me completely off guard. I don't think that's impossible at all. It was just 7 words, but they made me so angry. It was impossible, especially in my physical condition, especially with maybe a month or so left, especially because unless we're talking about science fiction novel, you can't turn back the hands of time. And especially because I'd already tried every way possible to regain my health with 0 results. But even as I told him all that, his expression still didn't change. Hear me out, he said. There's something I've been working on, and I think it could save you. He then proceeded to tell me about an extremely controversial theory he was developing. Stephen believed that there were 3 common health and wellness myths that virtually everyone has been tricked into thinking are indisputable facts. But these so-called facts are actually severely poisoning people's health while sending their bodies and metabolisms into a horrific state of shock. The first myth, according to Stephen, has to do with our diets. Specifically, it has to do with the way both our misguided insistence on counting calories and following ultra-restrictive weight loss plans, and the way we're constantly being told to consume so many supposed health foods like fresh fruits and vegetables, is actually slowing our metabolisms to a crawl, while putting us at risk of many of the most dangerous, deadly, and irreversible diseases known to mankind. Now, at first, this might sound counterintuitive. After all, why would eating less healthy foods and consuming more calorie-rich foods actually help us lose weight and be healthier? Well, as Stephen explained, when it comes to dieting, you are by definition severely limiting the amount of nutrients that enter your body. This forces your body into starvation and shock, where it becomes highly stressed and immediately stores whatever calories you do consume as fat, so it has an emergency supply for later. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, because also inherent in almost every diet is the edict that you increase the amount of fresh fruits and vegetables you eat. Everyone tells you that more fresh fruits and vegetables are essential to healthy living. The problem, Stephen said, is that following this advice is one of the most surefire ways to put your metabolism in slow motion while increasing body fat and damaging your cells. The reason why, he explained, has to do with your thyroid. The thyroid plays a huge part in the regulation of your body's metabolism, as well as the growth and health of your cells, and even your body's temperature. And when your thyroid doesn't function properly, it can't fuel your metabolism like it should, which means the calories inside the foods you consume are stored as fat instead of being converted into energy. The problem is that while fruits and vegetables do contain vitamins and some fiber, they are also low density, low energy, and don't have many of the essential nutrients your thyroid needs to function properly. So the issue is that by obsessing over fruits and veggies and reducing your intake of foods that are high in protein, fat, carbs, starches, salt, and even calories, You are depriving your thyroid of the key nutrients it needs to function properly. Not only does this lead to calories not being turned into energy, fat being stored rather than burned, and you constantly feeling exhausted, it also means the toxins and other deadly disease-causing free radicals that enter your body never get broken down. That brings us to the second deadly myth you've been force-fed for your entire life: that you need to be exercising 4 to 5 times per week to stay healthy and skinny. When you exercise, you burn energy. That's what exercise is. The problem is that exercise also places a tremendous amount of stress on your metabolism. That's because when it comes to running or lifting weights, the harder you work out, the harder your metabolism has to work to keep up with you. So if you're constantly hitting the treadmill, your metabolism is constantly having to be in overdrive. When that happens, it doesn't get the chance to rest or heal. And instead, it is, you guessed it, kept in a constant state of shock. And that, of course, brings us to the third completely misguided and deadly myth that health and wellness experts have been forcing down your throat: hydration. If you ever tried to follow the recommended guidelines and drink 8 8-ounce glasses of water per day, you've probably quickly found that doing so requires you to drink a lot of water when you're not even thirsty. Do you know another animal on the planet that drinks water when it's not thirsty? Neither did I, and neither did Stephen. We're told that our pee should be clear, but every other creature on the planet has yellow urine. If an animal pees clear, a veterinarian would think the animal is very sick. When you consider the above, it kind of makes sense why drinking 8 glasses of water is a completely misguided approach. Because in most cases, they're leading to massive overhydration, which, yet again, places an incredible amount of stress on your body, sending it into shock mode. And when your body is in shock mode, cells get damaged, your metabolism slows down, and you get fat and sick. Ultimately, this idea of shock was at the very core of everything Stephen was saying. Whether it's going on an extreme diet, overloading on fruits and veggies, hitting the treadmill for a seemingly innocent 4 times per week, or even just drinking glass after glass of water. All of these tiny little things add up over time. They keep your metabolism in a subpar state, where it can struggle to function like it should and ends up damaging itself. And they make it impossible to lose the amount of weight you want to, or regain your youthful vitality, or to even stave off disease. Well, the more I thought about everything Stephen had just told me, the more sense it made. It explained why my diets always failed. After all, if I was constantly counting calories and starving myself, then clearly my metabolism didn't have any energy to burn it in the first place. Plus, almost every single diet or healthy eating plan in existence tells you to eat more fruits and vegetables. Hell, I'd certainly done that if it didn't mean depriving my thyroid and metabolism of the nutrients they needed to function properly. And to add insult to injury, all these so-called healthy foods don't even come with the essential nutrients your body needs to stay healthy because they're all destroyed by pesticides and processing. It's all some bullshit you're forced to believe because, honestly, you don't know any better. Obviously, that also explained why I always felt bloated as I forced myself to drink glass after glass of water, even when I wasn't thirsty at all. And why the more I worked out at the gym, the less energy I seemed to have. The more difficult I found focusing and concentrating the next day, the more my body ached. So yeah, it all made sense, except there was a pretty big red flag, at least from my perspective, because, as I told Stephen, why the hell did any of it matter? I had maybe a few more months to live, and so, sorry, not to be a jerk, but I wish he had told me this like 3 years ago. Thankfully, my nephew must have inherited a strong sense of patience and compassion from my sister, because for a second time that day, he minded my outburst without so much as a flinch. It matters, he said, because you still have time to treat this, I promise. And when he did, he was carrying some small boxes that had a pleasant smell, almost like exotic spices. He said that those boxes had all I needed to repair my cells in my body and turn my metabolism back into the raging furnace it once was. He called it his miracle mix, and he made me swear that I would take it twice a day after he left. Well, if I'm being completely honest, this mix didn't sound half bad. Trying it seemed kind of pointless, But I was about to die anyway, so I just went ahead and tried it. Plus, what other options did I have? What else was I going to do with my final months anyway? Lay in bed, heaving, popping 10 different medications that weren't working, and try to count the bed sores that were popping up all over my body? And so, despite my reservations, I started with the first teaspoon. I committed to taking it twice a day, and, well, as terrible as this sounds, I just waited to die. But 4 days into Stephen's treatment, something weird happened. I slept through the entire night and woke up feeling more energized and alert than I had been in months. In fact, I felt so good that when I got home, I had a spur of energy and didn't take the elevator. Instead, I took the stairs, and I was amazed when I managed to climb 3 rows of them without breaking a sweat. When just weeks ago, I felt like dying just from a simple walk to the fridge. Now, don't go rolling your eyes here because no, I wasn't miraculously cured. And it was only a few minutes before I was out of breath again and my wife was marching me back to my bed and berating me for being an idiot. She was right, by the way. And I soon got stuck with a wave of exhaustion and slept for 6 more hours. But still, it was a surprising development. And I couldn't help but wonder if Stephen's mix might have something to do with it. Well, as the days went by, it started becoming more and more obvious that Stephen just might be onto something. I was sleeping through the nights. I was waking up feeling more energized, and this was lasting longer. I started feeling more and more mentally focused, even with all of those stupid medications floating around inside my body. And this was the most interesting part of all, even though Stephen's mix had me eating fewer salads, fruits, and other bland foods that society has been telling us we should be shoveling into our mouths in droves, and more foods with a higher salt content, with more starch, with more fats. I actually began losing weight at an accelerated rate. But even with this rapid weight loss, I didn't feel tired. That was what was incredible. I was having more energy, I was feeling stronger, I was looking healthier, all while drinking sweet tea, tearing into beef jerky, scooping down bowls of chocolate ice cream. You get the idea. I was basically doing all the things you'd think someone who's recently had a massive heart failure should absolutely avoid. And as you can well imagine, my wife was furious at first that I was doing this. She wouldn't even get me the foods I wanted, so I had to go get one of my neighbors to go off to the grocery store and sneak me all these delicious guilty pleasures. As for Stephen's miracle herbal mix ingredients, which were pretty hard to come by, my nephew pointed me to one of his most trusted sources. He was an international medicinal plants dealer who, despite all the difficulties, managed to procure all the magical ingredients that were accelerating my weight loss. And it still cost me less per month than Nutrisystem. But as my wife saw firsthand the way my body was rapidly transforming, how I was getting out of bed and spending hours on my feet without getting tired or struggling to breathe, how my physique was actually getting more defined, even though I wasn't exercising whatsoever, she eventually came around and started making those trips to the grocery store for me, grabbing the Gatorade, steaks, and other delicious foods I'd requested. She even started meeting with my dealer herself while I was busy taking my small nephews to the movies. And then, on October 27, 2019, I got the best news of my entire life. My wife had driven me to the hospital, and my attending physician was running through a whole battery of tests. The first thing he said was that I actually looked pretty good, and that he was surprised by this. But his initial surprise was nothing compared to the absolute shock he experienced as he viewed my test results. I don't understand, he began. This doesn't make sense. Your blood pressure is 110/80. That's literally the ideal blood pressure. But it's typically only found in kids and 20-somethings. Your resting heart rate is about 50 beats per minute, which is something we typically only see in professional athletes. Your LDL, or cholesterol levels, is about 70, which is, again, just about as perfect as you can get. And you've lost 53 pounds. But you don't look starved or emaciated or sickly. You actually look dramatically healthier. None of this makes sense. We need to run more tests. And he did run more tests, but the results just kept him flabbergasted. The ultrasound showed that my heart was completely normal. All of the restricted blood flow had disappeared. My arteries were naturally becoming unclogged, and, most incredibly, the actual muscle tissue in my heart seemed to be repairing itself. Do you pray? The doctor asked, because I don't have any other way to describe this besides a miracle. Well, the last month I was supposed to live came and went. Then so did another month, and another month, and another month. Soon I was off all of my medications entirely. The only time I spent time in bed was at night when I slept. And my body was pulsing with energy. I felt strong. My physique was more toned than it had been since I was 30 years old. My sex drive was like a roaring jet engine, and in every measurable way, I was not just back to normal, but actually physically healthier than 98% of the population. Friends and family alike were amazed by what had happened. They called me and asked me what my secret was, if there was some sort of weird new diet I'd been following. Many of them had their own health conditions they were scared about. Things like high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, you name it. Others simply were struggling with their weight. They had been putting on pounds for years. Their stomachs were swelling, diets weren't working, and they were tired of feeling unattractive and out of shape. So with Stephen's blessing, I began to share the miracle mix he'd given me with dozens of friends and family members, and then their friends, and then their friends' friends. Suddenly, there were hundreds of people doing the exact same thing I had done, and across the board, their results were the same: a dramatic reduction in body fat, an incredible increase in energy, optimal readings for all their vitals, perfect health. And as I received emotional call after emotional call from both people I knew well and complete strangers thanking me for sharing this plan with them and for changing their lives, it became clear that I had a new calling in life: to get this newfound health knowledge with as many people as possible. Because really, I shouldn't have even been alive. What Stephen gave me saved my life. I'd have to be a pretty ungrateful SOB if I didn't pay it forward. Helping others to beat the odds and regain their health, their vitality, and their youth. Stephen and I discussed the best way to get this prescription out to the public. He approached universities with a detailed scientific analysis of what he'd discovered and used me, along with the other people, as case studies of its effectiveness. The biology and medicine department chairs both told him it was amazing. But they couldn't publish it or even support him, because even though his total wellness theory had been proven in hundreds of instances, it didn't recommend taking any medication. We guessed that 95% of their funding came from the pharmaceutical conglomerates. They just couldn't risk angering the corporations and having their financial lifeline be cut off. Well, that sure made us mad. I mean, incredibly mad. How dare they suppress something that could save millions of lives, both right now and over the course of years, by preventing heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and other serious diseases associated with being overweight. We thought about trying to sell it to one of the weight loss corporations, since they might do a better job of marketing it and getting the word out. The Jenny Craigs, the Nooms, the Nutrisystems of the world. But there was no way they would want this, because they knew that with everybody guaranteed to lose weight that fast, they'd be completely out of business in just a few months. Stephen's mix wasn't going to create recurring income for them, because it was set to give people the only tool they needed to lose weight and stay healthy. And if they were to promote something like this, it would kill their business and topple their empires. That really left only one viable option, which was to take this directly to the public. So Stephen and I got to work. First of all, we had to source the ingredients themselves, and this was no easy task. You see, in order to work at their full potential, these plants and minerals had to be untouched by chemicals. It took us 4 to 5 months to get them all. We were extremely lucky that our dealer was super connected all over the world, and he could get us the purest ingredients all the way from sunny Africa to the Malaysian rainforest, and then to the weird places such as the ancient forest in Yakushima or the remote island of Tasmania. And after another month or two of mixing and matching these carefully selected ingredients in just the right amounts, Stephen and I managed to put them into some tiny but mighty capsules that were fast and efficient. Now, I know that every organism is different and that there's no bulletproof method that works for everyone. So I wouldn't dare to assume that this would work for absolutely every human on the planet. But the 97,000 people that tried this mix can assure you that there's a high chance it will work for you as it did for them. As for me, I wanted to see exactly how those ingredients worked, and this is what I found out. Step 1. Let your body immediately absorb them. We source these ingredients from the purest locations and in their most effective forms, which means they are extremely bioavailable and easy for the body to absorb. Imagine the 18 especially selected ingredients entering your cells almost immediately and getting to work in the blink of an eye. This also happens because whenever our bodies detect that we give them something that is essential for our survival, they practically suck it up like a dry sponge. In almost a fraction of a second, they start to rapidly spread through your body like a swarm of fat-destroying bees. Step 2. Massively exterminate all the fat deposits. So, you have 30 or 40 years worth of fat deposits stuck to your veins and muscles like parasites. No problem. After testing more than 178 organic anti-fat ingredients, Stephen and I chose these top 2 ingredients. Red Tasmanian raspberry with its powerful ketones that search and destroy any fat cells in their way, and the not-so-stingy stinging nettle, the sworn enemy of water retention. Together, they create a powerful slimming agent that breaks down cellulite and purifies your organism in the process. Along with these, we have also added selenium, or moon powder, as our dealer liked to call it, a strong mineral that will regulate your thyroid and help it get all the nutrients it needs. All of these ingredients will practically flush away like a fireman's pressure hose all the fat deposits from your body. You'll be clear of the unhealthy fat, you'll feel more energized, and your blood will once again flow normally to your organs. It's good to feel like you're 20 again. Step 3. Purify your blood. During this phase, the saw palmetto and senka plants will begin to actually dissolve the billions of toxic fat cells that have been clogging your arteries for years. The senka plant works wonders because it's a natural antioxidant and diuretic, while saw palmetto will act as a strong support pillar, lowering your blood pressure and keeping your hormones in check. This will make your blood more oxygenated, ready to be pumped up to the engine of your body, the heart. And when your blood is healthier, your risk of cardiac arrest or stroke is severely decreased. Step 4. Reconstruct your cells. Here's when one superstar ingredient enters in action. Cat's claw, the amazing DNA engineer. Enhanced with the reconstructive powers of vitamin B6 and vitamin E, this tree bark will take all the food you eat and break it down into little building blocks for your cells. And cell by cell, your body is restored to its former shape, erasing years of fat-induced stress on your organism. Step 5. Fight off disease. How do you think Asians manage to keep in such great shape and practically never get ill? Well, the secret is in their food. And these little magic mushrooms, to be exact, maitake, reishi, and shiitake, together they create a powerful army of little soldiers that will boost your immunity and target any harmful bacteria that enter your body. And because we wanted to make it extra strong, we also enrich these mushrooms with natural zinc extracts to create a first line of defense against any threats. Sure, this might sound amazing by itself, but zinc will also improve your skin by ramping up the number of proteins it needs to look healthy and amazing. So picture this. You will have the perfect weight and the perfect skin. Step 6. Have better sex than ever. This was an embarrassing problem I've had that I also wanted to fix. So when Stephen told me about this special cherry tree in Africa, he had my curiosity. And when he told me that the Zulu tribesmen use its bark to fix their own down there issues, he had my interest. This amazing tree bark is commonly used by Westerners to treat stomach problems such as gastric reflux. But a little known benefit is that it will boost your libido and you'll get the sex drive of a young adult. I can assure you that my wife has been especially happy ever since I've started taking this mix. At first, we were afraid to share with the world this weird little recipe for definitive weight loss. And can you blame us? This special formula designed to help you shed those extra pounds once and forever was not supposed to be shared with the general public. But we did it anyway, because we felt it was our duty. We've named this mix Met Slim Pro. And out of the more than 79,000 others just like you who have tried it for themselves, the average first month weight loss is about 37 pounds. Derek Rudd of Las Cruces, New Mexico, lost 41 pounds. Barrett Myrtle in Spokane, Washington, lost 46 pounds. Kathy Goodson of Reno, Nevada, lost more than 53 pounds. It's important to understand, however, that this isn't just about a quick fix. Yes, you will lose weight, repair damaged cells, and rejuvenate your body rapidly. But the mix is also designed to make 100% certain that you keep that weight off. Unlike other expensive so-called weight loss solutions, MetSlim Pro actually has your best interest at heart. We simply want to make sure that you have everything you need to not only lose weight, but to enjoy those amazing results over time as well. Because unlike Noom or Nutrisystem or any other program out there, MetSlim Pro will keep working even if you don't follow some extremely complicated and tedious steps. MetSlim Pro is a one-stop shop solution for all your weight loss problems. The only solution that actually works. There's no calorie counting or meal portions or other harsh rules that you have to follow. There's no point system or massive list of restricted foods. There's no monthly subscription or prepackaged frozen meals to buy or junk-filled supplement plans. And there's certainly no extreme exercise plan because, like we've already discussed, exercising for more than 30 minutes or so a day, a few days a week, does not help you with weight loss at all. So, if you just want to burn away 7 or 70 pounds of belly fat, you'll be able to do that and keep those pounds away for good. And even if you're not interested in weight loss, but just want to feel healthier, repair your cells so that they can destroy the free radicals that are aging you and putting you at risk of deadly diseases, MetSlim Pro will give you just the right tools to make that happen. Tools such as the powerful vitamin E antioxidant, the furnace that is vitamin B6, or the incredibly strong moon powder, selenium, that will keep your thyroid healthy as it can be. So, given everything that's above, it should be pretty clear that there's nothing else like MetSlim Pro on planet Earth. It's a fully loaded chest that's filled with the tools you need to not only quickly lose weight and regain your physique, but completely turn around your entire health, even if you think you're in the bad shape. Of course, that's not to say there aren't other options out there, but think about those for a second. You could continue to try every new fad diet that hits the marketplace, but the simple fact is, none of these work. And it's why the average person tries 4 to 5 diets per year and fails. You could count calories and starve your body into survival mode, where, by the way, it will start hoarding the few bits of nutrients that do enter your body and store them as fat to be used at a future date. Or start ordering salads every time you go out to eat and have a bowl of fresh fruit in the morning when you wake up. I used to think that was a great idea, until I realized that doing this was wrecking my metabolism. You could spend $429.99 per month on tiny, frozen, and unsatisfying meals from companies like Nutrisystem. But these programs depend on you continuing to order their products month after month, year after year, which means $5,160 per year spent on incomplete, unhealthy nutrition. And there's the traditional weight loss pills on the market that are nothing but neatly packaged drugs. Nutraceuticals spend billions per year marketing their latest and greatest product to you, until suddenly people start dying and the FDA pulls them off the market, a la ephedra, fen-phen, DMAA, and sibutramine. Finally, you could have your doctor prescribe more and more medications for your cholesterol, your blood pressure, your thyroid, and your circulation. Do that, and you suddenly become a walking tub of chemicals. And as each medication comes with a ridiculous list of side effects, you'll soon find yourself in a vicious cycle of adding medication after medication. Think I'm being dramatic? The ASCP estimates that the average 80-year-old takes about 18 prescription medications per year. And you can be damn sure they didn't start out with 18 of those medications. They just kept snowballing. And then there's MetSlim Pro. You aren't subject to strict rules. You don't starve yourself. You don't have toxic medications. You don't become a gym rat. You simply swallow this little guy twice a day, whenever it's convenient for you, and you'll soon be losing weight as you eat your favorite foods, no matter how unhealthy they are. And considering that Stephen in my mix has already been validated both by the scientific community and by more than 79,000 others just like you, it should be pretty clear why when we first brought it to market, we thought about charging $297 for access to it. After all, that's dramatically less than what you'll pay for a year's worth of doctor's visits, prescription meds, and health insurance premiums. It's much less than what you'd pay for a single month on a meal plan like Nutrisystems. It's even less than what you'd pay for just 5 personal training sessions. And yet, once you have access to this mix and its carefully selected ingredients that are naturally sourced and non-GMO, you will enjoy much better health. You will lose as many pounds as you want to. You will undo the effects of aging on a cellular level. You will reduce your risk of weight disease by 90% or more. And that's not even mentioning the things that can't be measured in money. The security and comfort of knowing that you'll be there for your spouse, your children, even your grandchildren for decades to come. That you can have the health to retain your independence well into your 80s, 90s, and perhaps even at the age of 100. While enjoying the golden years you've earned, taking incredible vacations, visiting family, pursuing all of your hobbies. And while you're doing all of it, you won't look or feel old. People will be coming up to you and asking, "What's your secret?" And the answer, you're lying when you tell them your real age, like you're a prankster who's having a laugh at their expense. But you'll know the truth, and so will the ones who depend on you with their lives. So yes, we think $297 is a steal, and a lot of people have written to us saying we should be charging a lot more. But you know what? This isn't about money. MetSlim Pro saved my life. I should be dead, rotting in the ground 6 feet under right now. But instead, I've been liberated from every single major health concern I had. I'm having the best sex of my life, and according to some of the best doctors in the world, I'm healthier than a 30-year-old. What kind of man would I be if I tried to get rich off a second chance at life? How could I look at myself in the mirror? I couldn't. Which is why you're not going to have to pay anywhere close to $297 to get your hands on MetSlim Pro today. In fact, you won't even have to pay $197 or $97, which is less than the cost of 2 personal training sessions or 2 weeks on Nutrisystem. Instead, when you say yes to MetSlim Pro today, and you make the commitment to save your own life while regaining the physique and vitality you haven't experienced in a while, you'll simply be asked to help cover our administrative, website maintenance, and distribution costs by investing a mere $69 in your health and wellness. If you want to make that decision today and be given a simple, easy to follow, and scientifically backed way to rapidly lose weight, act now by clicking the Buy Now button below. As soon as you've hit the button, you'll be taken to our secure checkout page where you'll have to enter your information. And once you've entered this information, you'll gain access to one of the most heavily guarded wellness secrets of the world. There's no question that with just 1 bottle, you'll lose every single extra pound of stubborn fat. But with 3 bottles, you will also lower your blood pressure over time and forever cut the risk of heart failure by 98%. Besides that, you massively reduce the risk of fat-caused problems such as cardiac arrest or increased blood sugar levels. And with 6 bottles, you'll give your body the ammunition it needs to repair your cells and considerably slow the aging process forever. You'll get the organism of a 20-something. You'll rarely ever feel tired, and you will spend more time with your loved ones. Listen, I know you've tried a lot of methods to lose weight and nothing worked. So you might be skeptical. I get it. And that's why I want to make sure that you've got nothing to lose when you decide to try MetSlim Pro. Your investment today is covered by a 100% 60-day money-back, no questions asked guarantee. I realize that telling you that you should be eating less fruits and vegetables, drinking less water, going to the gym less, while adding more salt, starch, and fat to your diet sounds pretty damn crazy. And even though 79,411 others just like you have already tried MetSlim Pro and shed their unwanted body fat successfully, that you still may need a little push in the right direction. Stephen and I both know that this can be the single most important decision you ever make in your life. And we could never live with ourselves if we didn't do everything within our power to get it into your hands. Which is why all we ask is that you say maybe to MetSlim Pro right now by pushing the Buy Now button you see below this text. Then enjoy a fat-free life and all the benefits that come with that. Sleep better, have more energy, get a skyrocketing libido, all while enjoying all your favorite foods and without wasting any minute in a dirty gym. Experience the transformation for yourself. Take a full 2 months to try this out for yourself. And if for any reason you're not satisfied or you see the pounds drop off and your youth rapidly restored, simply send an email to the address we'll give you in the members only area, and we will immediately refund you the amount you invested within 24 hours, with no questions asked. We're taking all of the risk here, and you're reaping all of the benefits, and that's fine. This is about reclaiming your life. And if on the extremely low chance you're not happy, we don't want you to pay a single dime. The choice should be an easy one, but we can't guarantee how long this website will remain up. So get started now by clicking the Buy Now button below, which means that if you're ready to stop dieting, stop calorie counting, stop wasting your life at the gym, stop being a slave to your medications, you must act now by clicking the Buy Now button you see below this text. This presentation is about to end. There's only a few seconds left to make this 100% risk-free decision. And ultimately, whether or not you want to reclaim decades of better health is something only you can choose. You could just let this presentation end and then click away without trying MetSlim Pro for yourself. That's just fine. And it's certainly your right. But if you make that decision, what's going to change? Are you going to try another diet that doesn't work? Clearly, none of these diets really work in the long run, or you wouldn't be seeing a new health craze sweeping our nation every couple of years, making empty promises to succeed where the last one failed. Are you going to keep exhausting yourself at the gym without the results you want, waking up feeling tired every morning with aching joints and a fog around your brain? How will you lose the weight you need to? How will you repair the damaged cells inside your body? Will you decide to just do nothing at all and let your health remain a ticking time bomb, something that will blow up in your face at any second, just like what happened to me? None of these options are real solutions, and you already know it, which is why you need to click Buy Now below and try MetSlim Pro for yourself right now, 100% risk-free. Get all the natural ingredients that will work together to act as tiny fat-destroying soldiers, while also repairing damaged cells and building new ones, giving you the body, the blood flow, and the energy of a 20-something young adult in just a matter of weeks. You'll look and feel amazing. Hell, even better than when you were younger. The choice is yours, but you already know what you need to do. To a long and healthy life, James Carr. Still here? That's okay. I know that we've covered a lot of stuff in this presentation, and that you may still have some questions about what you just saw. To make things easier for you, I'll go ahead and take a few seconds now to answer some of the most common questions people ask me about MetSlim Pro. 1. How is it possible that eating less fruits and vegetables, drinking less water, and eating more salts, fats, starches, and sugars can actually help me to lose weight and become healthier? Well, like I mentioned during the presentation you just saw, a lot of these health foods actually cause shock and trauma to your metabolism and your thyroid because they don't contain the nutrients they need to function properly. That means they can't convert the food you eat and the drinks you drink into energy. Instead, all of the calories you consume get stored as fat, and all of the excess toxins and free radicals leak back into your body where they promote the rampant growth of disease. That's why if you really want to rev up your metabolism, you need to balance the metabolism inside your body. That means eating foods that are more diverse in nutrients and that help with cellular absorption. But the thing is, most of the foods nowadays are so processed that you won't be able to get those nutrients from them. So, you need some little tools that will help your body get all the substances it needs to burn fat quickly and efficiently. MetSlim Pro has all these ingredients measured to fit exactly your body's needs. That means you will get just the right amount of essential nutrients for what it needs. 2. Who will this mix work for? MetSlim Pro can help anyone at any age to lose weight. There's no dangerous substances or food deprivation here. Instead, it's just about giving your body the right tools to shed the extra pounds by itself, and less about those tedious and unnecessary advice you're usually given going to the gym, drinking gallons of water, or depriving yourself of your favorite foods. 3. So is this a weight loss pill or what? Well, yes and no. You will lose weight on MetSlim Pro, but that's not all, because you'll be undergoing a fundamental transformation. Your cells will be healed, your body will become stronger, you'll be measurably healthier, and you'll even be physiologically younger. So in other words, weight loss is just one of the many benefits you can expect. 4. What kind of results can I expect to see? More than 90,000 people have now used MetSlim Pro, and the results have been remarkable. However, it depends on how quickly your body responds to the ingredients used in the protocol. Some people see changes faster, while others may take longer. So please allow at least 3 weeks to see a dramatic improvement. Question 5. When should I take MetSlim Pro? We recommend you take 2 capsules each day with a big glass of water. You can take them whenever you feel comfortable, either in the morning, afternoon, or even in the evening, if you had a busy day and forgot about it. So number 6, tell me about that guarantee again. Sure, because this program saved my life, and I truly believe it can give you back decades of healthy living as well. I want to make it as easy as possible for everyone to get their hands on it. And that means removing all of the risk so that it's a no-brain decision for you. So once you've clicked the Buy Now button below, you'll get a full 60 days to try the mix out for yourself. And if you're not satisfied for any reason whatsoever, you simply send me an email and I'll refund the entire investment today with no questions asked. Question 7. How long will MetSlim Pro be available for? Well, I can't give you an exact answer here. Obviously, me and Stephen want to keep it up forever. However, the pharmaceutical companies and the meal plan corporations are becoming increasingly hostile towards us and starting to make threats. As soon as my family's at risk, I'll have to take the site down. That means you really should get MetSlim Pro right now, especially since there is zero risk to you. Question 8. Okay, I'm indeed ready to change my life. What's the next step? Simply click the Buy Now button below. Get the entire list of benefits and be protected by a 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. You have absolutely nothing to lose, but your entire life to regain.